All right.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Graeme and Sophia podcast. This is
Gas
going
for
to be,
short.
yes, Gas F1 podcast. This is going to be our review of the Brazilian GP. All right, so let's get into the Brazilian GP. We'll go through the race results quickly. So for the podium, we had Max P1, of course. That's just reserved for him.
Given. Yep.
Lando P2, and Fernando Alonso making his long way to return to the podium in P3.
He
So
fought for
that
that
was a
too.
he did. That was the only exciting thing to happen in the race.
Yeah, we'll get into that, but
Yes.
we'll
So the
continue
rest
on.
of the top 10 was Checo P4, Lance Stroll in P5, Carlos P6, Pierre P7, Lewis P8, Yuki P9, and Ocon P10. Kind of a
Quite.
mixed up top 10.
Yeah.
De-
I mean, didn't
Definitely would not have predicted like half of these people to be in the points.
no Stroll P5. Well, we need to talk about Stroll
Yes.
just being
We need to talk about
starting
Aston Martin in
P3.
general.
Yeah, but him starting P3 was a shock to us all. Um,
Yeah, that qualifying session was crazy. I'm sure you saw like the pictures between
yeah,
Q2 and then 10 minutes later Q3, and it was like literally bright as can be to pitch black.
yeah,
And
crazy.
I think Aston Martin were just one of the first few cars to get their cars out on track. So they really benefited. That's why Max got pole and McLaren were bad. And yeah, that Q3, if it wasn't delayed by that 15 minutes, Lando could
Yeah.
have been on pole. Shame.
Uh, He would have finished where he did anyway, but
That is true. Yes. In the end, it
let's
didn't
be
affect
real.
anything. It did not
No,
affect
it's
anything.
he just had to work a little bit harder, but he still would have finished P2.
Yes. I think he was the only person that was close to Max, but just no one's fast enough to catch Max right now.
No, unfortunately, that's not really an option unless something tragic happens. Like, I don't know, the
And
hydraulics
has there
giving.
been, I think early in the season, I don't think Max had any DNFs, but he had a couple of mechanical issues in qualifying or something. And that's like when Checo won his like two races in the beginning of
Yeah.
the year. But yeah, the Red Bull has not had like any mechanical reliability. I remember like the start of last year, the first like three races, had a bunch of DNFs, and then just since
It
then,
was looking
nothing.
good for Ferrari. Yeah. Well, maybe Ferrari and Red Bull could switch.
Unlikely, but wish slightly wishful thinking.
For the sake of Charles's sanity and mental health, he could use some help.
Yeah. Didn't he say he wants to go get the car like blessed or something like
Yep,
that?
yep. He says he's cursed, and he actually,
He
like,
might
he
be.
could
He
be.
might be.
He
There's a
could.
good case for it. He has had
There,
such bad luck.
horrible luck. Like the poor guy, and like you have to compare him to Carlos in that sense. Like it really is always Charles. Carlos always
Yes.
just seems to get by just fine.
Carlos did
So poor
have
guy.
a little bit of bad luck, but I think maybe just Ferrari in general brings bad luck, and then
Yeah.
Charles specifically also has extra bad luck
Maybe he like
for
sold his
whatever
soul to the
reason.
devil and
Yeah,
like
to get
made
the
a
Ferrari
pact.
seat.
Yeah, now he's like, oh shit, like I can't even do anything with this. I would say though, overall, the race wasn't really that exciting to me. I
Yeah,
rated it
no,
a four.
Brazil I feel like usually has pretty good races. I feel like the sprint was pretty entertaining, but just the race didn't really do it for me. The only exciting thing was Alonso versus Perez at the end. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 10. I think
That's fair.
we've definitely seen better Brazilian Grand Prix, and this was probably the worst one I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I had some hopes in the beginning when there was, the collision, but
Yeah.
I was like, oh, maybe this will be interesting. And it wasn't until the last lap. Um,
Yeah. There was
which is a
also
shame.
that small sliver of hope when Lando had that one chance where he was in
Yep.
DRS of Max and like made a move or tried to make a move on Max, and then Max just took off after that one try.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to think like even if Lando overtook him, give Max
Yeah,
2 laps, it would be
I
back.
my only thinking is if he had, then because they were kind of close in pace, I think Max had a little bit more, but it could have been just like in dirty air. It could have been difficult for at least that first stint for Max to get ahead.
Yeah,
But then they would have just undercut Lando and then just been gone anyways. So
yeah,
in the end, it would have been the same result.
yeah. Poor
But it was good to
Lando. He really deserves a
see
win.
Lando actually battle for the lead for 1 or 2 quarters.
1 second, literally
Yeah,
1 second.
yeah,
Yeah, well, it's all right. I mean, I think, getting into our predictions, I was pretty spot on, close.
yeah.
Well,
You
I
were,
only got
you
two.
were. That's pretty close. So your podium was Max P1. Good job.
Yep.
Golf
Thank you.
clap. You don't get
Thank
more
you.
than that because it's the bonus free square. You had Lando P2. Good job.
Mhm.
And you had
Thank
Lewis
you.
P3, which
We'll get into that
Mercedes,
one.
they were far away from the podium.
Oh, yeah,
And
what was
yeah,
yikes.
we can talk about that later. Some of my stats that will go over kind of show how bad Mercedes was. And then your wild prediction was that Alonso would DNF, which
He
he did not. He was in fact
he
on
did
the
the exact
podium.
opposite. He did the
Yes.
exact opposite and said, "Fuck you, I'm on the podium." Um,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's fine. It
I
it
mean, it
spiced it
was
up. Honestly, it was more impressive,
yes.
you know?
Um, I mean, to be fair, they did have two double DNFs in a row, so like
Yep.
there was a good chance that they had another DNF, but no, they figured their shit out for this race.
They came, they came guns blazing, so well deserved for P3. Um,
Yeah,
I'll give him that. For you, you put Max P1, got the free space.
of
Put
course.
Lewis P2, so yep,
That's a
again far
toughie.
away. And you put Lando P3, close.
Hmm. Yeah.
But you doubted your guy, and look at where it got you. You know.
Yeah, I had too much faith in Mercedes, and it was ill placed. Clearly.
Yeah. Sorry, that's how I feel every day as a Ferrari fan.
Oh my
And then
god.
your wild prediction was Danny Rick gets points again, which I actually saw a joke that Danny and Oscar were just driving in their own time zones, like they were in Australia because they were
they
so far behind.
they truly were just in their own like Sunday drive. Like they, it was so annoying that they couldn't unlap themselves because I think they were both fast enough to score points. And then in
Yeah,
the sprint, Danny Rick was like I think he finished like 3/10 behind Carlos. Like if it had been like one
yeah,
more lap, he might have been able to get Carlos and get a point in the sprint. The AlphaTauri was it was quick again. I mean,
yeah,
Yuki scored points in the sprint
yeah.
and the race. So, I mean, that's a huge result for them.
It's shaping up nicely for them. Sucks that it's
Yeah.
so, like towards the end of the season, but
I mean,
next.
the last race result was a $20 million result for them, moved them from last place to eighth in the constructors. So
Oh,
who knows? Maybe in the next two races they'll have more results and they get close to Williams. But I think that they
it's a,
might actually, be like the sixth or seventh fastest car right now.
wow.
Those new upgrades did miracles for them. I think.
Mm, I think.
It's hard
I
to
mean,
tell
clearly
because
it helped them.
Brazil and Mexico are weird races because of the altitude and stuff, and it's
Yeah,
kind of hard to tell. I feel like we won't tell until Abu Dhabi, like if their upgrades are actually good or not.
right, right. Which it might not
Yeah,
actually even be happening. Rumors are
I
going
did
around
see
that they
that,
might
but
cancel the
then there were
race.
also like counter rumors that it's not in danger, and
Yeah,
we won't know. Well, if it
yeah.
happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Max won
Vegas
long time
being,
ago,
yeah.
so it
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't
doesn't really
really
matter.
have too high of stakes, but
Yeah.
yeah. Going on to the moment of the race, take it away.
Yeah, so I think we probably have the same one. Uh,
Yeah.
but there's really only one moment in the race, and it's Alonso versus Perez at the end,
Yeah.
because that was like the only action we really saw, and just Alonso's defensive driving was insane. I think as a defensive driver, he's got to be one of the best on the grid.
Yeah.
Like I'm having like
Yeah.
that was like flashbacks to him versus Hamilton in where was it? Was it Hungary? Might have been Hungary, like 2021, where he held Lewis behind, and that's how I think it was Ocon got his win because of that
Oh.
crazy start where everyone went bowling, and then Ocon went through, and Lewis was way behind, and he
Yep.
kept
Yep. Yep.
Lewis,
Yep.
and Alonso kept Lewis behind for like 20 laps.
Yep. 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 That was
Yeah,
yeah. I remember that
but
vaguely.
when Perez first got past Alonso, I was like, oh, he couldn't hold out
Yeah.
for like 2 more laps. Like he had been
Right.
defending for like so long, and then Perez got by, and I thought Perez was going to go flying past, but Alonso played it well and kind of going into the last lap, dummied him,
Yep.
like making Perez think that he was going to do a dive bomb, and then he didn't. So Perez kind of went deep, and then he got a great run through the Senna S's and was able to overtake him into turn 4.
It's
And
really good racing.
yeah, and then I'm sure you saw the picture, the photo finish, like
Yep. So close.
half of a tenth between them at the finish line. That's crazy.
Like incredible, and you almost wish that was like the case for like P1 and P2 every race. Like imagine how epic the season would be if all of the cars were just like fighting like that. I don't know. That would be
It's
that's like the
wishful
epitome of
thinking, but
it's like the
yes,
epitome of racing. Like
yeah, we gotta watch IndyCar if we want that.
yeah, I guess so. But no, truly crazy. I just remember like giving up on the race. I was just kind of like cleaning my room because obviously new backdrop. I moved, so I was, multitasking. I was like, this race is such a snooze fest. And then I'm like hearing everything going on. I'm like, what's going on here? And I like quickly looked and I was like, wow, like that's incredible. And of course, it was the last lap of the race for it to get
Yeah,
slightly interesting.
it was also kind of funny because like Max was 8 seconds ahead of Lando, and then it was like a 30-second gap
Yeah,
from Lando to Alonso and Perez. Like
crazy.
they were so it was Max and Lando finished, and then it was half a minute
Yep.
until we saw that battle where they were crossing the line half a tenth apart.
Lando got a taste of what Max feels like when he's racing this whole season.
Seriously, yeah.
He probably loved it.
I mean, he seemed. I feel like Lando recently has always sounded super like down. Even when he's on the podium, he's just like, "Oh, that's another P2. Good job, guys."
I mean, I guess like he deserves a win.
He
He
wants the
deserves
win.
it.
He wants
Yeah.
the win. He needs
I,
the win.
he needs the win. He deserves the win. And obviously, it's probably so defeating knowing that it's so far
Yeah.
away. Like, he has the talent. I think just, I don't,
He has
the,
6 P2s this year. If
that's,
Max wasn't doing Max things, he would have had a win by now in any other season, pretty much.
yeah.
And imagine think like one of your best friends is the only thing standing between you getting a win. Like Max should just be like, "Whoops," and just go off, let Lando by, finish P2. It was a mechanical problem. I don't know. I didn't do that on purpose.
I feel like Max is focused on breaking records himself.
Yeah, I think that Lando also wouldn't want to win like that, but it
one
is
would.
pretty funny.
It would be funny. Just maybe one day. Next year.
Did you have another moment in the race, or
no.
was that also yours? Yeah, makes sense.
There's not much that was exciting.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was very upset that Charles didn't even start the race. So
yeah, that was when I was sitting on my couch watching, just kind of like its formation lap, like just kind of looking at my phone, just kind of waiting to everyone to get thrown, and then it just cuts away, and you see Charles in the barrier. My reaction was just like, no way. I was shocked. I was like speechless. It was just insane.
The amount of people that texted me saying Charles out in Charles crashes in the formation lap. I was like, I'm fucking watching. I know. Like F off.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay.
It makes it better that he didn't do it himself. At first, yes. I thought that he accidentally
just crashed
crashed in the formation lap.
That'd be horrible.
That would be bad.
I will say him trying to like walk back to, I guess it was the paddock. I don't really exactly know
Yeah,
where
he
he
was
was
just
trying
going
to
on going on an
go.
adventure through the trees, and
The best were the marshals like gathering around him as he's trying to like hike up this little
yeah. I
like
saw the
ditch.
marshals took a picture
Yeah, with the
with his
car.
car.
It was just so funny. He's just like storming around. The amount of
Yeah.
memes that came out of it was hilarious. But obviously, my heart goes out to him. That poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Charles.
Apart from that, talking
Yeah.
about more race controversy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it's really there's some weird rule with where if you go into the garage and there's a red flag, you're not allowed to unlap yourself like you would normally during a safety car or red flag. So just like you were saying, Danny Rick and Piastri were just out in a different time zone the entire
Yeah.
race, just kind of doing their own thing. Um, yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. I mean, I guess they had a fun drive. They were kind of close to each other the whole race, just
Yeah. Just
by
them.
racing themselves.
Just,
But yeah,
just
that was
eating some Vegemite or something Australian.
yeah. It was from the sprint. I did see Danny Rick posted a picture of them like racing each other. And it's just like two Aussies in Brazil or something like that.
Just having fun. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it was sucks for them.
yeah. But I mean there was so much chaos off the start. I feel like we haven't
Yeah.
really mentioned it, but like just the tires were flying,
Yeah.
and it was another situation where just three drivers are trying to go into a space where only two
Yeah.
fits, and then people
It was
crash. It happened. It happened in Mexico. It happened in
yeah.
Qatar, and it's just
Yeah.
I feel like it happens pretty often actually, where it's just like the inside driver doesn't realize there's a guy on the
Yeah.
outside, and then just goes over, and then it just
It it's like almost
uh,
no one's fault, but everyone's fault at the same time.
yeah,
It's just like
exactly.
it's happening so
No,
quick. There's
yeah,
so much
not a
going
single
on.
one of them is at blame
No, no. But
specifically.
I will say it was interesting. I guess I never really realized this rule that like if you enter the garage, like you have to start from the back or from the pit
Yep.
lane. I didn't know. So like it was Haas, right? Where like they were working on his car just like out and about and he was able to like restart in the same position. So I found that
Yeah,
interesting.
so it's if like during red flag you can make any repairs in
Yeah.
the fast lane,
Yeah.
but if you go into the garage then you would have to do what Danny Rick
Right.
and Piastri did where you like
Yeah.
start from the pit lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. I think in a lot of like the red flags, if there's like front wing damage, they'll just replace the front wing and stuff. But
Yeah. I guess I
I
never
think
like noticed that rule into play. So I was like confused slightly at first, but I was like, okay, that makes sense.
yeah, usually you really only see like front wing changes usually. But
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
Hulkenberg had a little bit more damage than that, so they made note of it.
Yeah. Well, you learned something new.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't seen that many red flags this
I th-
year. I
I
feel
think
like
there was
Australia in the
four.
okay.
I want to say I
Australia
heard
we
something
had
about
two,
four.
right?
I think so. Australia was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like 3 a.m. I was delirious. I don't even know what that race was. Prior to it, there was a hurricane that shut off the electricity. Like, it was chaos.
Yeah, that was wild. That all the red flags in that race were so crazy. Every start, someone was hitting somebody and going off, and then there was another red flag, and then we almost had a Haas on the podium, but they had to do a count back, and then it was just that was a crazy race.
It
Th-
was way too much.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
thankfully
there's three.
in Australia there were three.
So I tried to Google to see how many red flags have been in this season, but it says the
Yeah,
2023 Australian Grand Prix holds the record for most red flags with three.
yeah. There you go. That was a crazy experience at like 3 a.m. just watching
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So then there's been four this
Yeah,
season. Crazy. It's also crazy how recent like safety cars and red flags have like come into F1. Like it's fairly not fairly
I think
recent,
it was
but
early
it's
2000s when they started doing red flags, right? Or safety
some
cars.
or
I think
like
I
the
saw
late
a tweet about it.
90s, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was not around when F1 originally started racing. If
Which is really
something went wrong,
crazy.
they would just keep driving around and there would just be a car on fire or something.
Yeah, which is absolutely nuts, but glad we're prioritizing safety here these days.
Yes, we love safety here.
All right, so moving on to some stats and nerdy shit.
Yeah, so this is the usual race pace stats that I show, but I just want to point out the main thing about this is so the AlphaTauri and Aston Martin compared to how they did in 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix were both 1.3 seconds per lap faster than they were last year. So that's a
Wow.
massive improvement.
Yeah.
Um, and then on the other side, so remember Mercedes had a 1-2 last year, the Brazilian Grand Prix. They were half a second slower. Well, Hamilton specifically was
Oh,
half a second slower than he was last year. So that just kind of goes to show they really fucked up their setup. I think they basically
yep.
did what Red Bull did last year at Brazil, where they completely messed up the setup, didn't have time to change
Yeah.
it because it's a sprint weekend, and just kind of were locked in. And that's exactly what
Yep.
happened with Mercedes. They were, I think they had too high of a ride height, were running too big of a rear wing, so they were so slow in the straight line. I think it
Yeah.
was Hamilton was like in the DRS of Ocon, or it might have been Gasly for so long. But even with DRS, he wasn't
He's
gaining
just not catch.
anything and could
No,
not catch at all. It was really bad.
it
So
was bad.
I think Toto Wolff said like this is in
Yep.
13 years of managing like Mercedes or being the team principal, he's never had this bad of a race weekend. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah. He was like, "This is not a race-winning car." He was so disappointed.
Yes. No. Um, I do think that it was just a bad setup, and that I still think that they have a fast car. But if they show up to Las Vegas being as slow as they were, it's going to be like how
Yeah.
McLaren was at Spa, where they were just getting passed by
Yep.
like four cars on every straight. And
It
that
just
would be very bad.
it would suck. That would really
Yeah.
suck, especially in Vegas.
Yeah. I that race is either going to be a disaster or absolute chaos. I have no idea. It's
I
such a
know.
weird track.
I'm so interested. It looks like an upside down pig, first of all.
I had
Um,
not seen that
I don't know.
comparison, but that's
Insert
pretty
image
funny.
here. It looks like an upside down pig. I'm so curious to see how it goes. Like, who
Yeah, I've
knows?
raced it on the F1 game, and like the back straight is crazy. Like you get
Really?
to the I think we might see like the record for fastest speed in an F1 car
Oh,
ever.
wow.
Potentially. It is that long of a straight.
Amazing. I cannot wait. Well,
Yeah. Hopefully we don't
I'll
just
have
have a
to.
massive DRS train, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll see. All right. Was that.
Yeah,
Was
that's
there more?
that's everything
Okay.
for stats this week. Just kind of want to highlight that Aston and AlphaTauri made good gains since last year, and Mercedes was shit. So yeah, moving
Perfect.
on to meme of the week. I
Memes.
think my meme of the week fits in pretty well with my stats and Mercedes overall, and it's the classic slow car is a tractor. So it's
Yep.
Mercedes at the Brazilian Grand Prix and the Mercedes tractor looking fast as ever.
Yep. Well,
Not really much else to say, but I love the tractor memes whenever
the
there's a really
tractor
slow
memes
car.
are
It used to
great.
be McLaren. They were
Yep.
the
They
tractor or the brick, but we have moved past those days, thankfully.
We love it. We love that we've evolved past the tractor for
Yes.
McLaren.
Those were the dark days.
Yeah, they truly were. Um, so I had a few memes, but we'll narrow it down because we can't go cliche with the Charles Leclerc like cursed memes.
Yeah.
So this meme is Alonso's car is just enlarged, and it goes Fernando Alonso defending at the Brazilian Grand Prix, and he's just like blocking the entire
Oh, I
lane.
love those ones. I feel like I've seen a bunch of like Alex Albon ones like
Yeah,
that earlier in the season. It's so good.
I just think it's
Uh,
so funny because it's
every
true.
time without fail, it's so good.
It is so good. Memorable meme that we'll just throw in there is just Charles getting a haircut, and next to it says "Spot the difference," and it's a monkey getting a haircut. And It's just funny.
I
I
did
just had
see
to.
that one today.
Yeah.
I did see that one. That's pretty funny.
It was too good.
There's no
Like,
difference.
no difference. It's like, oh, I'm cursed. Let me get my hair cut.
Yeah. New
Yeah.
haircut, get rid of the curse,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Obviously. So moving on to our predictions. I guess we'll start
Sure.
this time.
Let's
So
see what you
P1,
got.
P1, we got to go with the max, the
Hmm.
max.
The
Uh,
Max.
P2, Lando. I think he's proven himself that he can consistently stay there. P3, this is a wild one. Charles.
That is wild. Is your wild prediction that he's not gonna have a unlucky moment?
That should be my wild prediction because at this point it is wild. But I'm actually just stealing your wild prediction and saying that Danny Rick will get the points. I just think the hype and the excitement of Vegas will just put a little pep in his step.
Maybe Danny Rick's gonna win.
Yeah, no.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
He's been so hyped for Vegas ever since it
I
was announced
know.
like 2 years ago.
Yep.
And remember we thought that he wasn't gonna be able to experience it,
I
but
know.
we're all very happy that Danny Rick is gonna get to enjoy a Vegas GP.
Yep. So we'll
He'll
see how
probably
he does.
be in the car hungover, but he's gonna be loving it.
Yeah, he'll have like poker chips flying out.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's gonna be yeah, I don't have high hopes for the race, but I think it's just the spectacle and everything that's gonna happen is gonna be fun.
There's going to be far too many celebrities. It's
It's
going to
probably
be
only gonna be
chaos.
celebrities.
Yeah. I mean, who else can afford the tickets?
Yeah, seriously. So expensive. I looked just for fun and it was scary.
It's like general admissions, like a grand
Yeah.
for like
Yep.
one day.
Grandstand is like 2,500.
It's crazy. Literally crazy. Um,
Yeah. Maybe in 20 years.
it not to get on a tangent, but like I know the whole purpose of like bringing more tracks to America was to like help the fan base grow. But like, how are they? You got
Yeah,
to make it a little more affordable.
what fans are going to Vegas? I feel like I've seen that all of the US Grand Prix are like super expensive. So it's like, not even just a normal person can
that's
go for
that's what
fun.
I'm saying. And so the
Like you
people
got to be
that can,
really into F1 to want to drop like $500 on a ticket.
or you're just like rich and don't care, and you're not an actual fan, and you're just like there because you know that it's like a place where like
It's cool to be
celebrities are. Yeah,
like MGK.
yeah.
That was weird.
Just my bone to pick sometimes. Do I wish I was an influencer that just got invited to these things for free? Absolutely. Am I jealous? Yeah, I am.
The
And
thing
I
is,
will
you would
admit to
actually
it.
appreciate it though, unlike
That's what I'm
the
saying.
influencers.
Nothing grinds my gears more than watching the influencers being like, oh, I'm going to F1. I have no idea what it is. Alpha Romero
Yeah,
is
it's
racing. It's like,
some
what
of
is
them are
that?
so oblivious and have like no idea what F1 is. It's pretty bad.
Which is fine. Like if I got invited to an event that I had no idea about, of course I would go. Like that's not, you got to
Yeah,
get
they're not gonna say no.
exposed.
It's
Yeah, I don't blame them, but maybe do some research before
you would think so, but some of them just don't.
Sorry,
All right.
tangent over.
Moving on to my predictions for Vegas. I have
Yes.
gone for the Max Verstappen spot. Max Verstappen.
That's a crazy prediction.
For P2, I have also gone Lando.
Hmm.
Um,
You doubted him and now you want him back.
yeah, I trust him. Although we'll see. McLaren's like not as slow as they were in a straight line, but they're still not great. So I don't know. It's such a weird track. I have no idea how it's
Yeah.
gonna go. But I did put Carlos P3 because I think
Oh.
Ferrari will do well. It's kind of fat. It's a very fast track, not like Monza, but like there
Yeah.
are long straights, and Ferrari usually does pretty well at those. So I did Carlos instead of Charles for P3.
Alright.
And my wild prediction is no Merc in the top five.
Okay.
I think they're going to have another bad weekend. So,
Wow.
yeah, no Merc in the top five.
Okay. That's a crazy prediction.
Yeah, especially because I generally before this race thought they were like the clear second fastest car
Yeah.
because I mean Lewis was second in Mexico, second in Coda, and then just yeah they just fell down to earth a little bit I guess.
Yeah. Maybe it's a fluke and they'll get back into it.
We'll find out in 2 weeks I guess, right?
Yes, we will.
All right, moving on to the Hinge pickup line of the week. What do you
Mm.
got for us this time?
These are going to be Max themed because clearly
Okay.
everyone just wants to make these about Max Verstappen.
Okay.
So this one, Mr. Tyler
There
said
should also you should have done Max themed ones that are also from Max's.
there was one that came from a Max, and he goes, maybe I'll throw that in there because it made no sense.
Okay.
We'll do three.
We'll see.
We'll do three. It's quick. So
Okay.
this one just says Tyler, Mr. Tyler. You and I are just as a sure thing as Verstappen.
Okay.
It is what
Yeah.
it is.
I mean, not terrible, not great, but at least like I like the punch
Yeah,
line of it.
he knows what he's saying.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6.5.
I'd give it a 7.
All right.
It's not
Good job,
not
Tyler.
bad. All right, this next one, Brian.
Okay.
I'll win you over faster than Max is winning the championship. So, right off the bat, Max already won the championship.
Yeah, not winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sent this to me like a few days ago too, so it's
Hmm.
like you should know that.
Also, in terms of F1, obviously he did win it quickly, but it was still like 7 months, so not really that fast in terms of real time.
Well, he said it'd be faster, so
Okay, so like
yeah,
6 months.
yeah, obviously. But he's apparently still trying to win, so maybe so is this guy as well.
I'll give that one like a 5.
Yeah, it was like a 4. I don't know. It's just
Average to below average.
yeah. So going to the Max one.
Okay, let's hear
Yeah,
this from Max Verstappen himself, of course, right?
himself said this to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he prefaced this with, "I have a really cringy F1 line since my name is Max, but it's really really bad."
Okay.
I go, "Oh no, now I gotta hear it." Do you drive for Red Bull because you're number one in my pole position?
I mean,
Sir,
interesting.
that what like number
Number one
one in my
in
pole
my pole
position?
position. Yeah, I
Like
don't.
number one is pole position, sir.
Well, Max's number is number one, but so I think that's what he was going for. But I don't know what he means by in my pole position. I think there's something there, but I think it needed to be worked out a little bit more.
I guess I mean I never put together that Max is number one. Like I kind of just like assumed
Number one, as in starting first.
yeah, and then he was probably trying to make some like sexual comment with like pole
Pole
position.
position.
That's kind of how I initially took it. He goes, my other, I guess, would be a reverse pickup line for myself, so it wouldn't work. So he tried to adjust it because the pickup line was for him. Like, are you Max because you're on pole position, or you're like on pole?
No, I
I
think
don't know.
it sounded like he had another one, but it would be if someone was trying to pick him up, not the one that he sent you.
Okay, I thought he was just trying to like reword.
Well, regardless, Max needed to workshop that one a little bit more. I think.
It was real bad. Yeah, so he didn't. I wanted to just be like, that makes no sense, but it wasn't worth the
I'll
battle.
give that one a 3.
Yeah, too. That was a little treat.
All
3 for the
right.
week.
Yeah, Max Verstappen is good at driving, but not pickup lines. Good to know.
No, yeah. And yeah. Sorry, Max. Maybe next time. But yeah, that concludes our episode for the Brazilian GP. So make sure you like it, you listen to it, you follow us on everything, and
We'll see you
yeah.
in 2 weeks.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
That's gas.
That's gas.
See ya.
Peace.